Game 4 took me some time to figure out what to do here. There's no plus action, so that made things a bit hard for me. We do have Knights, which is something to think about. We have Young Witch, which is something to think about, although Masquerade being the Bane and having the ability to pass cards to your opponent seems to neutralize the Young Witch quite well. Vineyards doesn't seem to be too attractive given the lack of plus buy. There is Armory to gain things, and there is Rat Catchers and Moats. Maybe you could go for something with Vineyards. I didn't see it straight away anyway. There's also Ferry, which could make action cards cheaper. So to me, it really seemed like you just wanted to play with a lot of money on this board. However, you need to sort out the Knight's business first. So my opponent opens with a Rat Catcher, and I presume this is 2-5 from him. I'm gonna open with Masquerade and Silver to try to get some Knights myself here. And truly, he does open with a Knight named Natalie. So we are under the pump right away here. So Masquerade, I said Silver, but I decided to change my mind and put it onto Sir Michael here. I think that makes it a lot more likely that I get 2 Knights on turns 3 and 4 than if I just buy the Silver. And I need to try to catch up a little bit with the Knight thing, I believe. So I do manage to get a Knight, and I will get a second Knight here and clean up my deck a little bit. I get rid of one of the shelters, which is cool, makes it a little bit easier for me to get to 3. Yeah, you know how I said it was easy for me to get to 3? That didn't happen on this hand, so I just have to be content with 2 here. Not enough to pick up Destry, which is pretty bad, I feel, but still enough to pick up either a Moat or a Ratcatcher. I go for the Moat here, perhaps Ratcatcher is better. Not entirely certain there. I do expect the Moat to put in a fair bit of work, given that we are both chasing the Knights quite actively here. So we are going to pick up the last 2 Knights. I get Bailey, which is cool. I have to hope my opponent passes me a copper here. He does. Cannot trash it because I want to buy a Knight. And he is going to pick up the last one, Molly, which is decent for him. He actually won the Knight split there, so he has a few more Knights than me, and having both Molly and the Necropolis around means that he can probably find 1 or 2 turns where he's able to play more than 1 Knight. So my thought at this point in the game was, well, you lost the Knight split, what can you do? Let's try to junk him, and hopefully that'll slow him down enough. So that is the motivation behind the Young Witch here. Of course, it's all too easy for him to pick up a Silver, not a Silver, a Masquerade, and start to return these curses to me. But we'll see how things go from there. So he picks up a Moat at this point, and really for me here, I am just going to try to play with these Knights and some money. So opting for the Young Witch again, trying to junk my opponent. I do manage to land it, and I'm going to start picking up money. As Silver here on 4 also serves as some kind of buffer for the Knights, so that is somewhat helpful. A Band of Misfits for my opponent here, which I found interesting. Not sure what he wants to use that as. You don't really want to use it as any of the brown cards, because I'm not sure how that interaction works. I think they get stuck in that form if you choose to mimic Ratcatcher or duplicate. Not entirely sure there though. So he does have the Band of Misfits, and you'll see later on why he picked up the Band of Misfits. I get hit by some Knights here, and here comes Sir Martin, and here comes the start of my opponent's plan. So he picks up a couple more Moats, which still didn't cue me in on what he was trying to do here. I pick up a Band of Misfits, not really sure why. I just followed my opponent there, but there's nothing really that my Band of Misfits could be played as here. Honestly, probably a second Young Witch. And there goes the Armory and gaining a potion. So my opponent tips his hand there, showing me exactly what he's going for. The Vineyards, and he has, well, a couple armories in his deck. No, just the one armory in the Band of Misfits, but he also has the plus buy Knight. Now, all these moats also means that I find it very, very difficult to attack him, meaning that I can't easily trash that plus by knight. I mean, it isn't doing that much work now, but maybe it might later on. It gave him two moats just a few turns ago, so perhaps he could do something similar for him in the near future. Who knows? Anyways, there goes an armory for my opponent, and at this point, or when I realized he was going for the vineyards, I decided to just stay away from the vineyards entirely and to go after money, and hopefully I could empty enough provinces in time and he won't have as many action cards. Hopefully I can trash one of his knights or something, and in particular I can make use of this masquerade to force him to pass some critical components from his deck. He does have a couple rat catchers and has been trashing that way, so he's actually somewhat thin himself here despite not having the masquerade. So I can only hope that his good deck allows me to gain something nice off of my masquerade plays here. So he has a couple potions now and should be buying Vineyard fairly regularly. As soon as I have the opportunity for province, like here, I will buy it because these knights can ransack my deck and scrap my treasures. So while I have the opportunity, I am going to make use of it to buy the province, that is. So here we start to see some fun with the masquerade. Well, fun for me anyway. He has to start passing me more and more exotic things, or things that he doesn't want to pass me anyway. Here comes a moat. Previously was a silver. So him passing me the moat is excellent news. I get a bit more defended from his knights first of all, and also I take away one of his actions that contribute towards his vineyard. So here we go. I pass you a copper, you pass me a potion this time. So that's also good for me. It means he has one potion in his deck. It will slow down his vineyard purchases right now. Pick up back the Band of Misfits here. One of mine's got trashed to his knights, so I guess having a second one is pretty useful. And I am just going to go along here picking up provinces where I can. So this is more than enough money for a province. Yep, we'll have those. I'm not sure if 8 provinces will be enough to beat 8 vineyards, but I feel so. I feel like he doesn't have that many moats. Like, he won't have all 10 moats. I have 3 moats in my deck now, or 2 moats or something. He does have some knights and some Band of Misfits, but I suppose he was okay really, because he could use his armories to gain rat catchers and they would just go on the mat, and in any case the knights cannot trash them because they cost too little. So perhaps the vineyards were the way to go here. I completely missed out on that idea with the cheap action piles, of course, and that easy way to gain them. Instead choosing for some money strategy here, which doesn't end up working out. A bit of spoilers towards the end of the game here. My opponent is unhappy, as you see in the chat here, that he has to keep passing me moats. Must say the Masquerade put in the finest of work in this game here, getting me thin and forking my opponent quite nicely. I pick up another gold here. Perhaps it should have been a fairgrounds at this point in the game, but I figured I need to try to end the game as quickly as possible on the provinces before my opponent could buy the last 2 vineyards, which is 2 buys away actually, so very, very scary times for me. And in fact, he is able to get enough actions and enough vineyards to empty the 3rd pile on a win for him. So very nicely done for my opponent. I missed that Ratcatcher mode vineyard thing. I didn't think too much about vineyard because I didn't really see a way to put too many action cards into your deck, but here we entered a sort of stalemate with all these modes in our deck. None of the knights attacks were really going through, and additionally the 2 cost cards are immune from the knights. So I think he, looking back at it now, he played it much better than I did here going after the vineyards, and he picks up the win here. So there you have it, vineyards and the 2 costs for the victory. Thank you for watching, and I will see you.